Welcome back to the public policy stage at AIUK. The Alan Turing Institute is delighted to host the latest event of the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. Now, the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, the GPAI, is a multi-stakeholder initiative which aims to bridge the gap between theory and practice by supporting cutting-edge research and applied activities on AI-related priorities. So it's built around a shared commitment to the OECD recommendations on artificial intelligence and brings together engaged minds and expertise from science, industry, civil society, but probably also the civil service, governments, international organisations and academia to foster international cooperation. Launched in June 2020 with 15 members, GPAI is the fruition of an idea developed within the G7. To open the sessions this afternoon, it's my great pleasure to introduce Dr. Jenny Tennyson, who will be familiar to many of you, I think, among many other things and many other hats that she wears. Jenny is the co-chair of the Data Governance Working Group within the Global Partnership on AI. Over to you, Jenny.
Thanks so much, and thanks for the intro, Tamandra. I'm delighted to welcome you to this session this afternoon as the Global Partnership on AI's co-chair for the Data Governance Working Group and also as the Executive Director of my new initiative, Connected by Data. I'll start by saying a few words about GPAI as it's still relatively young and you might not have come across us. And then I'll introduce our keynote speaker for this opening session. GPAI was founded back in June 2020, and it currently brings together 25 governments, a number that's been growing all the time, to build this positive vision for a collaboration on AI to ensure that it's developed and used in a responsible way, advances human rights, and helps us to address the global challenges such as climate crisis, inequality, and global health. Those governments are supported in shaping that vision by an international group of experts, some of which you'll hear from today, from those different 25 countries and more besides. We're supported by 2 centres of expertise, one based in Montreal and another in Paris, and by a secretariat that's hosted at the OECD. So we experts are organised into 4 working groups. There's our own group on data governance, and then there are groups on responsible AI, the future of work, and innovation and commercialisation. Now, good data governance clearly plays a foundational role in meeting GPAI's mission, and our working group works across many of the GPAI projects and connects with experts on domain challenges that they're seeking to solve. The participation of experts in GPAI is voluntary, and there are regular calls for experts to be nominated or to nominate themselves as observers. So if you want to get involved, then please check it out on the GPAI website. The level of commitment that the experts that have shown from around the world is really incredible, and it's been a real joy to be part of the community and to make some great friends along the way. We do it because we believe in GPAI's mission. We think it matters, and we want to make an impact. We want to know that governments who have the power to make changes are as invested as we are in this work. And that's why it's a great pleasure to be here today. The UK government's contribution to the projects that we'll be talking about today is the biggest commitment since GPAI's foundation in June 2020. So it builds on an initial multi-million investment made by Canada and France via the Centres of Expertise to support our work in the first 5 years. And we're planning to build on this contribution with further collaborations with GPAI member governments later in this year. The investment by governments enables us to commission proper in-depth research, and it shows that the work that we're doing matters. This support from the UK is why we're also delighted to welcome the Minister for Technology and Digital Economy, Chris Philp, today. The Minister has been at the vanguard of the UK's work on artificial intelligence, launching the National AI Strategy to a very positive reception amongst the AI community last year. The National AI Strategy recognises GPAI as an important institution in meeting its aim to ensure the UK gets the national and international governance of AI technologies right. You'll hear today about the impact that this investment has had in supporting two of our flagship areas of work, enabling data sharing for social benefit through data trusts, and advancing data justice, research and impact. The investment has had a huge impact on our work, moving from theoretical foundations and towards practical interventions, which was one of the original aims of GPAI. So thank you, Minister, for helping make that happen, and thank you for joining us today. I'm going to invite you to kick us off with the keynote for today's event.
Good afternoon, everyone, to those here in person in London and those people joining us from time zones around the world. It's a real pleasure to be here with you today. And thank you, Jenny, for that very kind introduction and for your leadership of GPAI's work on data governance. You are a credit to the United Kingdom. Thank you for all you do. And my thanks go out to all those at the Open Data Institute, the Alan Turing Institute, the Data Trust Initiative, GPAI's Montreal Centre of Expertise, and all the other partners who have put in countless hours of effort to produce these reports. It's fascinating to hear firsthand about the forefront of research on data governance, and the UK is proud to have supported such important work. Thank you to AIUK as well for inviting me here today. This government sees AI as a truly transformative set of technologies with the power to drive growth and prosperity around the country so everyone can benefit. And as Minister for Technology and the Digital Economy, I am keenly aware of the critical importance of the UK's AI sector. Events like this demonstrate how the UK is leading the way in AI development by showcasing the best of our homegrown talent while offering a vital platform to discuss how we can foster better links with our colleagues internationally around the world. But before I begin, I think it's appropriate just to call to mind the terrible events unfolding in Ukraine. The brutal invasion of Ukraine, a free democratic country, by Putin's regime has shocked the world. There are undoubtedly war crimes unfolding, and it's right that we in the Western world do everything we can to support Ukraine's government, both with sanctions and with lethal weaponry, to defend themselves in the face of these brutal attacks. And I know that the tech industry is stepping up and doing its part, particularly in relation to fighting disinformation. And as we gather today, I think we should just keep in mind the sacrifice being made as we speak by the brave Ukrainian people. But let me turn now to the topic of today's discussion, which is international collaboration on AI and data. It's never been a more important topic. These technologies are transforming our lives every day. Our lives are made easier or services made better by AI and its applications. There are many companies here in the United Kingdom leading the way with innovation. So just recently I visited Wave, based near King's Cross, who are using AI to develop autonomous self-driving vehicles, which I went and we had a drive around Camden. Companies like Excentia are applying AI to pharmaceutical and drug discovery, slashing the time it takes to bring new drugs to market. Darktrace, another enormous UK success story, is applying artificial intelligence to the critical topic of cybersecurity. And of course, DeepMind is developing all kinds of AI applications, including AI applications to discovering folding proteins for the first time. And they were doing some work in pharmaceutical discovery via their new isomorphic lab venture. And there are businesses like Graphcore, based in Bristol, who are developing semiconductors with AI applications, or developing semiconductor IP and design to support AI applications. So we have a phenomenal ecosystem here in the UK that is innovating in extraordinary ways, as are other people around the world. But to completely understand the extent of this transformation, we need to hear from our colleagues around the world to understand how the diffusion of AI technology across society impacts people around the world. And we need to ensure that data and AI technology help us tackle the biggest challenges facing us globally, such as climate change or pandemics. These are the key motivations that have guided the research you're going to hear a lot more about today. Bringing together colleagues from here in the UK, Canada, Kenya, Chile, India, and many other countries, the projects we'll be discussing this afternoon exemplify the best of cross-national research focused on overcoming these challenges. I want to commend the Alan Turing Institute and their policy pilot partners for working with communities right across the globe, in particular those in the Global South, through their research on furthering our understanding of data justice. And as Jenny discussed, the ODI's research on data trust shines an important light on how better stewardship of our data can equip citizens with the tools to confront climate change. Now, as those of you who have been listening to talks at AIUK will know, this year's conference is based around the UK's world-leading national AI strategy, launched last September. In a short space of time, we've taken significant steps to keep the UK at the forefront of AI. And I'm pleased to announce we are launching our second call for the Turing AI World-Leading Researcher Fellowships. We're making up to £20 million of funding available through 2 rounds, which will support exceptional AI researchers to advance AI through world-leading programmes of research. This is part of the UK's strategic initiative to retain, attract and develop AI research talent. The new fellowships will join the existing cohort of 25 Turing AI fellowships awarded to date, including 5 world-leading researcher fellowships. Applications for these prestigious fellowships open in the coming weeks. And this comes, of course, on top of the 1,000 PhDs in artificial intelligence the UK is already funding and 2,500 master's conversion courses in AI. So I think our commitment to AI research and scholarship is clear for all to see. The AI strategy also sets out how the UK can build international collaboration on AI governance. Indeed, one of the strategy's 3 pillars focuses on ensuring the UK gets the national and international governance of AI technologies right, because this will encourage innovation and investment, and most importantly, protect the public and our communities. In the UK, we intend to take an approach to AI regulation that is proportionate, that is light touch, that allows innovation rather than squashing it, and we would encourage other jurisdictions around the world to take the same approach. This requires forging new, strong partnerships across academia and industry to understand how we can do this properly, as demonstrated by the data governance work presented today. Our work on this pillar started with the publication of the Centre for Data Ethics and Innovation's AI Assurance Roadmap, the first major step towards reviewing the AI governance landscape. There is a huge opportunity here. Not only will an effective AI assurance ecosystem enable the trustworthy adoption of AI, but it also represents a new multi-billion-pound professional services industry in its own right. The roadmap was followed by the AI Standards Hub pilot. We are pleased the hub will be led by the Turing, partnered with the National Physical Laboratory and, of course, the British Standards Institution. In this, we aim to increase the UK's contribution to the development of global AI technical standards. We will explore international collaboration with similar initiatives to ensure standards are shaped by a wide range of AI experts in line with our shared values. And we'll be setting out more details about the UK's approach to international AI governance in the upcoming white paper to be published later this year. Our strategy is a bold 10-year vision where we cooperate with our international partners on using AI for good and advocate for international standards that reflect our values of openness, democracy and freedom. To encourage further collaboration, the UK and its partners around the world must combine our efforts through international frameworks. That is why we're keen to continue and grow our involvement with organisations like the Global Partnership on AI. We're proud to be one of GPAI's founding members, highlighting our long-standing commitment to bring key partners around the table. I attended the Ministerial Council meeting in Paris last December, where I heard firsthand about the partnership's brilliant work. I was particularly intrigued to hear about the research commissioned by GPAI's working groups focusing on responsible AI, the future of work, innovation and commercialisation, AI and the pandemic response, and of course, data governance. Besides the work you're hearing about today, a fantastic example of this cutting-edge research includes the recent Climate Change and AI report, led by the Responsible AI Working Group and presented in Glasgow at COP26 in the autumn. The report sets out clear recommendations on how governments can support the responsible use of AI to tackle climate change. This, alongside other innovative research projects conducted by the working groups over the past year, exemplifies why organisations like GPAI are so important for governments and societies more broadly. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of the innovative research that GPAI produces over the coming months, alongside the 2 projects we're discussing today. That brings me to those projects. You'll soon be hearing more about them, I believe, on this stage. As you'll be aware, The research being presented today is one of the outputs of GPAI's Data Governance Working Group. The United Kingdom is proud to have contributed £1 million towards funding this work, making a contribution to turning data trust theory into practice and facilitating one of the largest and most comprehensive global consultations to date on data justice. On data trusts, a research team bringing together the ODI, the Data Trusts Initiative and the APTI Institute examined how real-world data trusts can empower individuals to more actively control how their data is measured, particularly in relation to the climate. The team consulted with more than 50 organisations around the world and looked at 3 key use cases. The first focused on city cycling, with a particular focus on London, and how a data trust with the cycling community could help guide planning on infrastructure investment. The second looked at small shareholder farming in India, the other side of the world, literally, examining how data trusts can support local farmers in generating local data sets suited to their environmental circumstances. And lastly, switching continents again, they looked at Peru as a case study on climate migration, using their feasibility assessment to consider how local communities and organisations could form a climate and displacement data trust, providing a powerful mechanism for indigenous data stewardship. This critical examination helped the team to draft a clear roadmap for how similar data trusts for climate change could be implemented. The UK has been a pioneer in the field of data trusts thanks to institutions such as the ODI and the Data Trust Initiative. It's wonderful to see this work now being taken forward internationally. Meanwhile, the Turing and its partners focused on expanding our understanding of data justice in the age of AI. The UK's support for this research has produced new guides on data justice that will help policymakers and AI leaders make informed decisions on policy that will protect the communities at risk of marginalisation. I'm particularly pleased this research involved 12 policy pilot partners from low and medium income countries across Africa, Asia, Oceania and Latin America. For too long, our focus on the impact of AI in data has ignored much of the world. It's important we support research that incorporates and understands the impacts of data collection on everybody around the world. So to all of you who have worked so tirelessly on these initiatives, thank you. Managing our data transparently and effectively has never been more important, especially when it comes to AI and machine learning. We need to make sure that data and AI can be used for society's benefit, while ensuring data systems reflect the needs of everyone. It's important to emphasise again, these are not simply national issues, but international ones as well. We need to cooperate globally to make this work. AI and data are already transforming lives everywhere, and it's vital we work together to confront challenges we face as a global community. I'd like to reiterate again to everyone listening that the UK is always open to working with colleagues around the globe to push the boundaries on research on emerging technologies. This government in the United Kingdom will always encourage scientific research and innovation here in the UK, but we also want to facilitate cooperation internationally as well. We're determined the UK becomes and remains a global science and technology superpower. We'll do that through investment, as I've said already. We'll do it through a light touch approach to regulation, and we'll do it by international cooperation. So I'm particularly delighted to be speaking here today, and the reports we're discussing, I think, are a critical part of that work. So have a good conference, and thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Minister. Now, I'll be handing over in a moment to our first deeper dive on the projects, but I'll give you a quick run through of the next 90 minutes first of all. So we'll be talking about the 2 projects that the Minister introduced, and then my co-chair, Maya, will be wrapping us up. The first project session is about data trusts for climate action, which you just heard the Minister discussing. That's going to be led by Neil Lawrence, DeepMind Professor of Machine Learning at Cambridge University, who is also the co-lead of our working group on the project, along with Seong-tak Oh from the National Information Society Agency of South Korea. Then the second project session will outline the work we've done so far on data justice, including the first version of the guides that we're publishing for your feedback today. As the Minister noted in his speech, there's been a huge amount of work done on this project, drawing on insights from all around the world, and you'll get a sense of the breadth of insights that the work has generated. That session will be guided by Alison Gilward, who's the founding director of Research ICT Africa in South Africa, and Dewey Murdoch, director of the Centre for Security and Emerging Technologies in the US, who are our two co-leads on the working group on that project. Then Maya will wrap us up with our thanks to everyone who made today possible and talk about what's next for the working group, including an exciting new project that I won't say anything more about now, and how you can get involved in that. So Maya, I know, is going to be sharing our mutual thanks to everybody for the work. But while I've got the mic, I do want to offer a personal thank you to her as well for being such a wonderful co-chair. She's brought such great wisdom and care and humour to our work together, and it's been a great pleasure collaborating with her and with the rest of the working group and our colleagues at the Montreal Centre of Expertise. So I hope you enjoy hearing about the fruits of our labour as much as we have enjoyed working together. So please stick around for the rest of the afternoon to hear more from Neil and his panel first up for our first project session on data trusts. Thank you.